Age of Empires Definitive Edition is coming out next week. I've been playing that a little bit. Speaking of remastering games from the 90s.
You played that a lot when you were a dumb kid, right, Hanson?
Yeah, it made me a genius kid. And then I went and played Secret of Mana and finally understood it for once and all. I played it a lot. It was a very important game to me. Like, the first one, I guess, came out when I was 10. Blew my mind for the RTS genre. Like, what is this? I just build up a town and I can put in cheat codes and get crazy sci-fi troopers, like, blowing up lions and elephants. This is the best game ever. And so the Definitive Edition is very exciting just because they have remastered Age of Empires 2, which everyone loves, is the best in the series. Age of Mythology, which is my favorite in the series. They also remastered it, made expansion packs to both. They've been giving so much great treatment to that series. But still, Age of Empires 1 it's a little bit, not to this extreme, but a little bit in that Warcraft 1, Street Fighter 1 territory where it's like it's an important game, but gameplay-wise is not going to hold up as well as later ones. So it's a cool historical move to go back and give the remastered treatment to this game.
It's like The Simpsons on the Tracy Ullman show.
That's right. Remastered, the definitive edition of that.
Finally!
Yeah.
Did you play it yet?
Yeah. I played it a little bit last night. It doesn't come out till next week, but it is definitely a case of going into that game and then remembering, like, well, this is that game. This is a flood of nostalgia. The old menus, they redid a lot of the music, but the music all sounds great. Like, just these building designs. I haven't seen building designs from the Bronze Age from this specific race. I haven't seen that in 18 years. This looks great. Fantastic. And then as you go on, you remember like, oh yeah, this game was pretty simple, wasn't it? Okay, I think I remember the big beats. But still, it's so exciting to have this game playable. Not on Steam, mind you, just in the Windows Store for now, which is frustrating. Hopefully they'll eventually release it on Steam. But just to have that playable in a modern way, you can play LAN, you can play online multiplayer, they have all that stuff ready to go. Because even back in the day, playing Age of Empires 1 online was a nightmare. Like you had to go to mszone.com and like launch it through this gross Microsoft Zone portal. It was a disaster. And so to have like an easy to play online version of this classic game is really cool just for a historical basis. No pun intended with the history. Reeves, you're an RTS guy. Have you ever been curious about the Age of Empires series?
I have.
It started?
Did Age of Empires 2, was that remade like 2 years ago or something like that?
I think a little bit. Oh, yeah, maybe like 4 years ago, something like that.
Oh, was it that long ago?
Yeah.
I think I tried to play that when it came out, whenever that was, and it didn't really hold my interest super hard at this point, just because like modern age and all. They didn't give it dumb graphics and voice acting, which is what I really wanted.
They actually did add a narrator in the definitive edition. They changed bizarre little things. I mean, all of the graphics have been changed, but because I'm a nerdo, I went in there and started playing just a random match against the CPU and tried like all the old cheat codes. And they did an interesting move, and I don't know if they did it intentionally.
Wait, real quick, did you remember them, or did you have to look them up?
I remembered some.
Oh, wow.
Because there's some very good ones where you can make a car. In the original Age of Empires, you can spawn a black car that would launch missiles, and it was called, the cheat code was Big Daddy. And so then when Bioshock came out, I remember like, it's like that cheat code in Age of Empires.
Oh, and there's those cars.
And then for the expansion, they made a white car that could shoot nukes that was named Big Mama. And so the weird part is they removed Big Daddy. Big Mama's still in there. All other cheat codes are in there. But even more bizarre is they have like the original super pixelated version of those old sprites. Like they didn't remaster the cheat code characters, which I don't know if it's like an homage or just they didn't want to do that.
Were they worried about licensing and...
For Big Daddy?
Well, for Bioshock? I don't know.
I can't
imagine. It seems like a weird thing. But...
I would love to know. I think it's just tear down the patriarchy, baby. I think you got to do it. Get that guy out of there. I don't know, maybe not.
Big Daddy?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's weird.
I think it's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, it's cool that they have all that in there.
Who else is it for other than people like you who have this tons of nostalgia for the original game?
Right, and I feel like Age of Empires Definitive Edition overall is kind of falling in that camp of like, there's so many people out there that are like, I would like to have that computer sitting on my hard drive ready to play at any point. So I think it definitely fills that little crack in the wall for you. But as far as like Age of Empires games that are still great to play, I still think Age of Mythology holds up well.
Go back to that one?
I would recommend that for sure.
All right, I might do that at some point.
Definitely. Thank you so much for watching this excerpt from the Game Informer Show podcast. You can subscribe to the audio version and listen to new episodes airing every Thursday. We cover big games on the horizon, games that we've just reviewed. We have long-form developer interviews, a lot of fun stuff. So check it out every Thursday.